Hey everybody, and Happy New Year. As of today, as this video is being recorded, it is officially the new year of 2025. Today we are going to be going in and doing the Citadelle Day More Easter egg to hopefully give you guys a simple and clean guide to get this Easter egg done if you guys haven't gotten the rewards for it yet. So if you guys are new here, consider hitting that like button, subscribe button, and or that notification bell, and we will get right into it. So before we can actually start this Easter egg, we actually have to make sure that we have everything that we are going to need for it. So before we actually start, we're going to pick a weapon and loadout. I highly recommend that you either use an AR or an SMG, as during this boss fight, you are going to need high mobility to be able to dodge all of his attacks. Another thing that I recommend that you bring in is Ether Shroud, preferably with the augment that makes it last longer, or the one that gives you 2 charges on it. Either of those will work. I am personally going to be using the one that makes my charge last significantly longer. For your tactical, you can bring in whatever one you would like, but for your lethal, I highly recommend that you bring in Molotovs, as this will help you greatly later in the future for one of the steps. Now let's talk augments. For your perks, you are specifically going to want Quick Revive, and you're going to want to have Dying Wish unlocked. This is going to give you an extra chance at life in the boss fight if for whatever reason you happen to go down. So this is highly recommended for this Easter egg. The next perk you're going to want augments for is Jug. You're going to want to have the one that makes it so it increases your health slightly. So you will have 300 health instead of 250 when you get Jug. And on top of that, you're also either going to want the one that makes it so you take less damage when you have plates, or that your plates themselves durability last longer. I personally use the one that makes the durability last longer, but it's a personal preference. That one is up to you. The next perk on the list is going to be Melee Macchiato. Considering the wonder weapons of this map are going to be swords and you're going to be using them a lot, it is highly recommended that you have these as a must-have. You're going to want the first augment, which is going to give you backpedal speed, and then the second augment is going to increase your melee speed, which is highly recommended, especially for the sword wonder weapons. The last perk on the list is going to be PhD Flopper. I highly recommend that you get the last 2 augments for this one. This one is very important, especially during the boss fight, as if you are playing solo, the boss is only going to be targeting you and you're going to need a way to dodge his attacks. So the way I recommend doing this is using PhD Slider and then just sliding out of every attack that he tries to throw at you. So for this reason, I highly recommend the final 2 augments for PhD Flopper. As for Gobblegums, I am not going to be using any for this run, but if you guys would like to, obviously it would make it easier. I highly recommend, if you guys do tend to use Gobblegums, that you guys might want to pair Wonder Bar mixed with a Great Power to get a packed ray gun on round 3. That is totally up to you guys. You guys do not need to do it, as I am not going to be doing it, but it's just some food for thought. So first things first, once you load into the match, you're going to want to turn on Pack Punch, like most other Treyarch games. So what you're going to do to turn on Pack Punch is you are going to follow the orange rectangle that you see on screen, and then basically follow that all the way up to the castle, and do what that wants you to do until you've opened Pack Punch. Now, once Pack Punch is open, you can then come up these stairs to the left of the room, and then behind this Quick Revive machine right here, you can see there will be a door behind it. You can then hold the interact button and listen to this old man Croft, and he is going to talk to you, and then once the dialogue is over, you will be ready to start the next step. For this next step, you're going to have to be on round 10, and a Templar zombie is going to spawn. He is a special zombie that will spawn even on bug rounds, so keep that in mind. So what you're going to want to do is kill him and pick up this stamp that he dropped, and after he drops this stamp, you can go up to one of these statues and hold the interact button to unlock a bastard sword. Just good warning here, I highly recommend that you pick up Melee Macchiato if you haven't already by round 10, so that you can use your sword and it will be a one-shot for a lot longer. So the first sword we are going to be working on is actually going to be the Bastard Raven sword. I highly recommend that you leave a zombie at the end of the round, as this will make this step a lot easier, as you do not need any zombies for this step. So once you have a single zombie left and you have the Raven Bastard Sword, you're going to want to come over here where you can find a piece on this counter. If it is not over on this counter, it can also be over here on this shelf. And if it is not on this shelf, it can also be right here. and if it's not here, it can be on this last spot on top of this table. Now, once you've picked up this part, you can now come back to the spawn area, go down these stairs right here, and then you can make a left, and then in this hallway, there is going to be a little diagram on the wall. You can hold to interact to place down that part you picked up, and then hold the button again, and it is going to place your sword inside. So once you've put your sword in, you can then go up to it and interact, and it is going to put you into a mini puzzle. So I'm going to flash the answer to every puzzle on the screen right now. Basically, you just have to match it to whatever fossil that you have, rotate them, and then put them in the right order. And it is a simple thing to do. Just copy exactly what you see on your screen for whatever one that you have in the middle of your puzzle. And then once you are done it, you're going to hear an audio cue, and then a orb is going to come out and start opening a hole in the floor. So after you've done this puzzle right, what's going to happen? Orbs are going to start coming out of the wall where you place your sword, and over the hole in the ground is where you're going to want to lure them, and they are going to get sucked in. You have to do this 3 times with the hole in the floor. Then the hole is going to move. You're going to follow it, and then it is going to go to a new spot. It is going to do this a total of 3 times. And once it's done, you can follow it back down and then hold the interact button on the sword in the wall to then claim your Raven sword.
The Raven Knight never found this gift.
Next, we're going to work on the Raven Incantation while it's still the end of this round. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Pack Punch room, and in the back of the room, there is an escape exit back here in the back of the room that you can activate for 500 points. You're going to go down this, and you're going to see a bird on the right at the end of the tunnel. You're going to shoot it, and then it is going to get pushed out into the open. After it is pushed out into the open near spawn, you can shoot it out of the sky, and then what you can do is you can go up and then grab its Raven foot. After you've picked up the Raven foot, you can then go into the room next to the Pack Punch, and there is going to be a glowing circle that spawns on the floor when you approach it. You're going to hold your interact button, and it is going to start spawning zombies into the room, and you have to fill that area with zombie souls by killing zombies, and then it is going to open a little box that rises out of the ground. When it rises out of the ground, you're then going to take your sword and melee the box, and doing this is going to unlock the Raven Incantation. Also, the incantations are important for the Easter egg steps. However, feel free to use these as they will respawn around the map in multiple spots, so you don't really have to worry about running out of them. They're basically a tactical grenade that is going to do massive damage to zombies, insta-killing anything it touches, and it can also be helped to take down amalgams and or the doppelgas that spawn. So the next step is to unlock the next sword. So once the next Templar zombie spawns, you can kill him, and then you can go back up to the room of swords. The next sword that we are going to be doing is the Lion Sword. Now, to upgrade this sword, you do not need to kill any zombies, but once you activate the sword, what's going to happen is 4 parasites are going to spawn. You're going to want to kill a single one of them, and then make your way toward the Speed Cola machine, and then down this little side alley right here, where there is going to be a door that you can melee with the glowing sword. Once you melee it, your sword will stop glowing, and there will now be a symbol on the door. You're going to have to do this a total of 4 times, and after you've done this for your 4th time, you're going to be able to interact with the door to enter inside. After you've entered that room, you're going to go down this long hallway, and then you're going to hold the interact button to put your sword into this pedestal. There's going to be a symbol that is on the pedestal that you are going to have to look for in the room that you can see moving around. You're going to shoot it, and then it is going to go toward the center, and then it is going to change the symbol on the pedestal. You're going to have to do this for a total of 4 times, and then once you've shot all symbols, it is going to kill all the zombies that were spawning in that room. You can hold the interact button and then pick up your sword. Now that we have our Lion Sword, we can now make our way back to the sword room, where we are going to start to work on the Lion Incantation. So what you're going to want to do is there's going to be a little orb at the top of this little area right here. You're going to shoot it, and then you're going to see a beam of light start being projected. You're going to want to shoot it at an angle, and what's going to happen is it's going to rotate, and you're going to want to keep going until it is a solid beam. Keep bouncing this around until it goes all the way through, and then you're going to see it land on this bust of a woman, and then a brooch is going to spawn on top of it. After it spawns, you're going to run up to it and hold the interact button to pick it up, and right after you do this, right outside this door is where the incantation for the lion is going to start. So you can hold the interact button, it's going to spawn zombies, same as before, get a whole bunch of kills, fill the soul box, and then once the box rises up out of the ground, you're going to want to melee it with the lion sword. Next, we're going to wait for the next Templar to spawn, kill him, take his stamp, and then work on the dragon sword. Now the dragon sword is really easy to do. All you have to do is come into this giant room here, and then at the top there's going to be a dragon statue where you're going to interact to put your sword inside. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to one of these 3 cauldrons that are around the map. I will show you all the locations, but the first one we're going to go to is all the way down at spawn. And basically what you're going to do is you are going to interact with this cauldron, and you are going to get crazy speed. So basically your health is going to slowly deplete itself, but as you melee zombies, you will gain health back, and you just have to run it all the way back up to that dragon. Now once you've made it all the way back to the dragon, you can interact with it, and then as you can see, it will take that buff away from you, so you will no longer be taking damage, and now you can work on the next cauldron, which is going to be in spawn on the opposite side. So as you can see, right down here, right next to the other side of the spawn gate, there is going to be the other cauldron. You're then going to run this one back. And then the last cauldron will be up here near Melee Macchiato, right up here on top of this wall. Just run that back, and then you are going to be free to claim your dragon sword. So once you now have your dragon sword acquired, what you're going to want to do is work on the dragon incantation. So what you're going to want to do is come up on this wall right here, and there's going to be a pyre on top of this little area. You're then going to throw a Molotov at it, and then it is going to light it on fire. You'll know you hit it right when it starts spewing fire like this, and then zombies will start spawning. There are a total of 3 pyres. This was the first one. The second one is actually right in the middle up here, but it's a little hard to hit with all these zombies spawning. So if you need to, take them out and then come back to it. But there's also another pyre over here, which you need to blow up this rock to be able to hit. And then you're just going to, again, Molotov, throw it out. And that's the second one. And then the third one is again up in the middle. So after you've lit all 3 pyres, there is going to be a doppelgast that is going to spawn. You're going to want to kill this doppelgast, and after you kill him, he is going to drop a piece. You are then going to pick up that piece, and then the little ritual area is actually going to be in this courtyard right here, where you can interact and then start the incantation ritual. Again, nothing special we haven't done before. Kill all the zombies, box comes out of the ground, hit the box with your sword, and then take the incantation.
Max ammo.
So after you've fully done all the other rituals, there's only one left to go, which is going to be the Stag Sword. What you're going to want to do is kill the zombie that drops the little stamp. You're going to want to go and pick up the bastard Stag Sword, and then what you're going to want to do is put dead wire on one of your weapons, and then you're going to go to this area right here next to the speed cola machine and shoot this little power box. What that's going to do is it is going to drop a little lightning rod that you can now pick up. That's one lightning rod picked up, and now we can work our way down toward Deadshot Machine, where you can see another lightning rod is just sitting here ready to be picked up. for the final lightning rod that you're going to need, a lot of people seem to think that you can get it anywhere on the map, and I'm sure that is possible. However, I've had the best luck of it dropping every time I've ever done this Easter egg, doing it down here in the room where you talk to drop, near where the quick revive machine is. So just get kills down here, I recommend, until it drops, and you will see it drop on the ground, and then pick it up. Now, once you've collected all 3 lightning rods, you can now make your way up toward the elemental pop machine near this wall, where you can now interact with this machine. It is now going to put all 3 lightning rods inside, and a storm is going to start brewing. Now, what you're going to want to do is you don't have to get kills here, you just have to sit in this little circle, and what's going to happen is your sword is going to get struck with lightning. When it gets struck with lightning, you're going to want to hit that little pot with the lightning rod sticking out of it, and then what's going to happen is it's going to electrify one. You're going to do that 3 times until all of them are electrified. Hold your interact button on the pot, and then you are going to be rewarded with the Stag Sword. Now for the final incantation, you're going to want to come down here into this barn and shoot down this horseshoe off of the barn wall. You're then going to pick this up, and then make your way back toward the cannon that you shot to open the castle gate in the way beginning of the game. You're then going to launch yourself out of the cannon, and you are going to be struck by lightning. And then after you are struck by lightning, you're going to be in spawn, and you're going to look to the top left and the top right of spawn, and what you're going to see is a storm cloud on the left or right side. Whatever side you see the storm cloud on, you're then going to go over to, and then you're going to pick up the electrified horseshoe. After picking up this electrified horseshoe, you're then going to make your way over this way in spawn, where you can now find the final incantation spot on the ground right here. You're going to interact with it, and then same as before, kill zombies, fill the soul box, hit the sword on the box, collect the incantation, and then we can now start to move on to newer steps. After we've upgraded all of our swords and we now have all of the incantations, we can come over here to this wall, punch this wall with melee macchiato, and now this wall is going to be open and there is going to be a little puzzle inside. Now for this step, it is going to be a lot easier if you have a notepad handy or an iPad, something that you can write down the symbol that is going to be popping up. There are candles or little lanterns all throughout this bar, and there are 6 of them in total in Roman numerals. So basically what you have to do is you are going to activate it with your interact button, and then it is going to pop up a symbol. You are then going to write down that symbol and say, okay, this one is number 1. So that was our first symbol, and this one right here will be our second symbol, as you can tell by the Roman numeral located on top of the candle/lantern. Now, once you have all 6 of your pieces of your code, what you're going to do is you're going to make your way back down to the wall that you punched open with melee macchiato, and you're going to start inputting your code. The second you shoot the first symbol, the rest of the symbols are going to start flickering. So it is going to be a little timed, but there is no penalty for it, so you can relax and do it slowly and as carefully as you want. Just try not to go down by the zombie. Obviously, if the zombie's near you, you can run away for a second to just get more room between you and the zombie, and then come back and continue to input the code. Now, once you've shot all 6 pieces of your code, what is now going to happen is there is a red orb that's going to come out and then interact with this piece of the wall. It is then going to remove it, and it is going to now show a book. There is the book, but now you need all 4 pages of that book. And you can find all 4 pages around this room, right up the stairs. Just what you want to do is you want to hug the wall, scan the walls, and look for all of the pages. There are going to be a total of 4 of them, and then once you find all 4, you can then return your way back to the book and then interact to then put the pages inside of the book. So after returning and putting all the pages into the book, you can now see in this order from top down, from left to right, top down, and then top down. This is the order that you are going to need to find these symbols around the map in the floor traps. So there are a couple traps around the map. I believe there are 5 of them. You basically just have to trial and error this. You can look at the symbol and then try to match that. Clearly this symbol is not the one that we are looking for, but I looked around for a couple more traps, and this trap is actually the one that we need. So what you're going to do is you're going to purchase the trap, and then what's going to happen is you're going to get kills, and then when you get enough kills, it is going to completely shut down the trap, like so. And then what is going to happen is you are then going to make your way back toward that book, and then you're going to see the symbol has been grayed out. If the symbol is grayed out, you did this correctly, and now you can move on to the next symbol. Now, I believe the symbols are randomized for every run, which would make sense. However, I believe that the final symbol is always going to be in the stamina room, because every time I've went to do this Easter egg, it has always been that room specifically for the final symbol, so that is something to keep in mind. Now, once you have activated all of these traps and all of the pages of the book are now not lit anymore, you can now come down to this wall right near the stamina room, and you can see the order in clockwise position that Raven, Lion, Dragon, and Stag need to be done. This is going to be different for every game, so keep that in mind. But for me, I need to work on the Raven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the room with the swords, and I'm going to pick up my Raven Incantation, and I'm going to pick up the Raven Sword. After you have both of these, you're going to hit the statue with the Incantation, and you're going to flourish your weapon by double tapping left on your D-pad. And then basically when you do this, what's going to happen is it's going to start glowing yellow. You can then just double check to make sure what the next symbol is. For me, again, it is Lion, so I'm now going to grab the Light Incantation, like I'm shown right here. I'm going to pick up the Incantation, I'm going to go pick up the sword, and I'm going to repeat that exact same step, just with this sword instead. You can cancel the animation, by the way, after you've actually started to flourish the weapon. So next is going to be Dragon, so I'm going to go over here and grab the Fire Incantation, and I'm going to go back, punch it, do the flourish, and it's going to salute me back. And then for the last one is the Stag. So I'm then going to grab the Stag Sword, I'm then going to grab the Lightning Incantation, and I'm going to do the same as all of the other statues. Now, after you've done this to every single statue in the correct order, what's going to happen is they're all going to emit beams of light toward the sky, which is going to make a magical orb, which you are then going to need to pick up and bring to 4 different locations around the map, where you're going to have to do some mini type of challenge to then power the orb. So the first orb challenge that we are going to do is we are going to do the one for the Lion. You do not need the Lion Sword for this. However, this is my preferred sword of choice, so this is why I'm using this sword. So what you're going to want to do is come up the stairs and come right here, and you can interact with that wall piece, and then it will put the orb on it. Interact with the orb one more time, and then the challenge will start. Now, once you've actually activated the challenge, all you have to do is run through these giant green orbs that will spawn. Be careful, as zombies will start spawning outside of the orbs themselves, but that's fine. All you gotta do is run around. You don't even have to worry about killing. You can just keep running around, running through all the orbs, and you will know when it's complete, when you can go back to the orb and you can pick it up. Now, for the second orb challenge, you're going to want the Dragon Sword. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to charge the Dragon Sword up for its ultimate ability, but you do not want to actually use the ultimate ability of the sword, which would usually cast a fireball. What you want to do is you want to just keep killing zombies with it until it says that you are igniting enemies. Once you are igniting enemies, you can then come down this way, right out to this open courtyard, interact right here, and then start the challenge. All you have to do for this challenge is get zombie kills that are on fire. So you're basically doing that just by getting kills with the sword. You can also use the Fire Incantation, however, I just used this and it made it a breeze. Then once you see an orange surge from the orb's place, it will now indicate that the orb is done and you are ready to pick it up. So now you can pick it up and then you can move on to the next step. So now we can work on the next orb challenge, which is going to be for electricity. So what you want to do is you want to pick up the electric incantation that you can find in the back corner of this room right here. You're then going to pick it up and you're going to go back toward the spawn room. It's going to be right next to where the electric incantation is in the spawn room as well. So the orb slot will be right there next to it. Interact with it, start the challenge, and then you need to get electrified kills. So you can either use the sword's ultimate ability by hitting both of your triggers, or you can also use the electric incantation. I recommend using the incantation, since you should be able to get it fully complete like I did, using nothing but the incantation. The sword is just a backup in case you don't have enough. After obtaining enough kills, you'll then be able to go interact with the orb, and then you'll be able to pick it up, and then you can move to the final orb challenge. The last challenge for the orb is the exact same as the electric one, except this time you're going to need to use shadow rip damage. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to either use the ultimate of the Raven Sword, or you can just bank up the incantations from the Raven incantations and just use those and just charge up the orb. Now after the orb is fully charged up, you can now grab it and then go back over to that wall that told us which order we would be using the incantations on the statues, and then you can hold your interact button and then you can place the orb onto that wall. Now after a couple seconds of waiting by the door is going to slowly open, and once the door does open, you can go inside and collect a piece on a table, which is going to be the key to the ending boss fight. So what I recommend doing is going to pick up the key, and then afterwards you can then start working on yourself to be built up for the boss fight. So I am not going to go into the boss fight until I have at least one gold gun that is pack 3, and also with some type of ammo mod on it, as well as a mutant injection. You do not need 2 gold weapons. I actually brought 2 gold weapons in using the GS45 pistols. However, I realized that they do not do enough damage to make it worth it, so I just stuck with the AS Val. I bought a new AS Val off the wall that was a higher rarity, just so I didn't have to spend as much salvage. But you do not need 2 weapons. If you do, good for you. If not, don't even worry about spending the money to pack 3 another gun. Just save all your points that you have for ammo. Now, once you've gathered everything that you think you are going to need for this boss fight, that means all the perks you want, that means a gold weapon that is pack 3 with an ammo mod on it, and that also means whatever sword of choice you want. You can come down here and put this little symbol onto this statue, and then what's going to happen is it is going to start to initiate the boss fight. So basically, this boss has 3 phases. You need to watch out if you're doing this solo, especially because he only has you to target. So basically, this is where you're going to need to be on your toes. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to damage him in a couple critical points. So he has armor all throughout his body on all of his limbs. That means his shoulder, his arm, his legs, and also his chest. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do as much damage as you can to those areas, which will expose a critical spot. Once the critical spot has been opened up, you can shoot it, and once you've done enough damage to that critical spot, you will no longer be able to do critical damage in that area. Once you do that to him all throughout his whole body, his chest will then become a super critical spot where you can actually hit him for more damage than any of the other crit areas. Another thing to not forget is that there are incantations all around this ring that you can use to level the playing field. So at some point there are going to be brief intermissions between where he is going to be immune, just like the other Patient 13 boss on Terminus, but that's fine. What's basically going to happen is he is going to shrink the arena every single time that he becomes immune. He is going to have 3 different phases, and throughout all those phases, different stuff is going to come in. So basically, right now, it's just zombies, but later it is going to be doppelgas, zombies, and then at some point, an amalgam is also going to spawn. But keep in mind, you can use these incantations greatly to help even the playing field by using the lightning incantation to instantly kill amalgams, and also you can use the light incantation as a crutch, which is the lion one, which every time you hit zombies with, it will turn into healing orbs. So if you ever feel like you're going to go down and you're in a panic situation, you can always just run around with that, and then the second you think you're close to going down, turn around, hit the crowd, and then heal back a lot of HP. Another thing that you have to be really cautious about is at some point he is going to get super aggro on you. So basically he is going to be diving around the arena at you like crazy. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to utilize PhD to slide out of the way anytime he tries jumping at you. Because at some point that is going to be like the only attack he does, and it gets super annoying super quick. So just use that to get out of all the lava and all of his stomping attacks. Now for the mutant injection. If you are playing with people, this is probably the best case scenario, because what can happen is your friends can distract him and you will be able to hit him for 17,000 damage every time you hit him. which as you can see is slowly chunking down his health. The problem is, since you are playing solo, what he's going to do is he's going to constantly stomp on you, draining the amount of time that you have in this. The upside is you do still get a good couple of chunk hits on him, so it will actually drain him a lot. As you can see, I actually did end up going down and lost all my perks except for the 3, which is why I was so panicked. And then I realized, oh wait, I have my handy dandy Ether Shroud that I remembered to put on in the beginning of this video. So then what I end up doing is I end up popping the Ether Shroud, and then as you can see, if you hit him in his crit spot, you can hit him for so much damage after you've broken all of his other critical points. So with that being said, I hope this video was helpful. If you guys are new here, consider hitting that like button, because I would like to hit at least 500 subscribers by the end of this year, if I'm lucky. But if not, that's fine too. I appreciate you here for the view all the same. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys in another video. See ya!
They are breaking down my cell door. Hurry!
I can't feel my face. Bonus, 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 bonus.